Hello, Footballer Nation, and welcome to the greatest rising podcast in football. I'm Carson, and I'm a cardsaholic.
I am Alexander, and I am a Bills-aholic.
I'm Ian, and I'm an NFL-aholic.
Ian just refuses to associate himself right now. But to find out why, listen to the rest of the pod. But first, we gotta roll that intro. Hello, Footballer Nation, and welcome.
Welcome back to Footballers Anonymous.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's great to be here.
We got a
It's great to
special
be here,
week
guys.
Great to be
Yeah,
here.
Very special. It was a crazy week of football.
It was a crazy week of
It was
football.
a crazy week of football, man.
As
We're gonna
usual.
start getting right rolling with a crazy week of football because it's crazy, and we got to talk about some crazy things. So, first off, this week we got Saturday games.
Yes.
We do.
It's time.
We got some Saturday games.
We got a lot of Saturday
right
games.
again
A
on
lot of
Christmas.
them.
I love
Yeah,
Saturday
Christmas.
games.
Speaking of, with the Saturday games, 4 teams are playing Saturday, and then those same 4 teams are playing again on Wednesday. They're playing 2 games in 4 days, which is insane. For the record, the teams are Kansas City, Baltimore, Houston, and Pittsburgh. That's just torture, honestly.
You know, Kansas City is going to be playing those games 4 days apart, and obviously Patrick Mahomes got injured, but he is on track to recover apparently, which
He's week to week, which means he's probably gonna play
he's probably
because
going to
he's
be playing in
Mahomes.
that game because
Yeah, it's Mahomes. They're not going to let him sit it out, especially with not the division, but the conference not being locked up in their favor. Buffalo's kind of storming up there, and so is Pittsburgh even. So,
And I do want to
Unfortunately.
talk about Buffalo KC real quick because Emmanuel Sanders was on our team in 2021 just for a year, and he admitted openly on a talk show with LaShawn McCoy and a couple of people that he was retired. He said Mahomes made him retire after 13 seconds, which I thought was kind of funny.
Nice.
Which he
other
did retire.
injuries that happened this week, Nick Chubb suffered a broken foot in his. Yeah, it feels like he just got back into the lineup. Grant Dubose had a very, very scary helmet-to-helmet hit. He was stretched out of the stadium with a neck brace on, but recent reports this morning, as of today, say that he has gained all movement back in his extremities. He seems to be on pace to have a good, healthy recovery, but it was a pretty bad situation on the field at the time.
It is very good that he's recovering
Incredible. Good
because
for Greg Dubose.
the Dolphins are definitely taking a lot of hits.
The
Yeah, and
Dolphins.
another thing about taking hits on the Dolphins, they released OBJ. Very sad to see that happen.
I
We all
mean, he
grew up
didn't.
watching Odell Beckham, and it was just very sad to see that. And Tyreek Hill requested a trade, tweeting that it's time for me to go, coach. So that's 3 receivers. A 3 receiver hit to the Dolphins this week.
I didn't see that. He said that on Twitter.
Yes, he
Yes, he
did.
tweeted out, it's time for me to go, coach.
He tweeted that out. Yeah.
Tyreek, man.
Tyreek is
He's
I
just
mean,
such
with
an
OBJ,
interesting guy.
OBJ didn't even do anything for that team. I don't think he's
No,
gonna
but I mean, at the same
retire. I'm
time,
sure he's
it's
just
like
gonna go
for Odell
somewhere
Beckham
where he
Jr.
fits better.
Honestly, I don't know if I see Odell Beckham Jr. going anywhere. I think he's either going to officially retire or he's just not going to get signed. Maybe the Raiders will take him. Kirk Cousins, you've been benched.
No, I love
Or Michael
Kirk
Penix
though.
Jr. He's very high up there in passing yards. It's just the interceptions have been a huge problem for their team. They have not been winning games because of it. So there he is, Michael Penix Jr. It's your chance. You have 3 games to prove yourself, and Kirk
He's got
Cousins'
more
future
than
with the
3 games.
Falcons, not very decided. Kirk, you could be gone this offseason. Who knows?
One of
Another
those
Falcon,
is
Bijan
sorry.
Robinson, hit 1,000 rushing yards.
I was
That'll
gonna
be
say
him.
one of those
That'll be
games
him.
is against Kirko's old team.
Yeah, it is.
Yes,
And
they
speaking of
like
old
that.
teams, his old division rival Aaron Rodgers showed support for him after the news of him getting benched broke. Congratulations,
I
I
don't see him
Did
guess.
you
show
know
support for
that
anyone.
Aaron Rodgers was a Green Bay Packer?
Okay, pause. What?
Well, me and
Okay,
Alex is talking a fair amount too, but like Carson, I feel like you're not doing any talking over there.
I just won't talk.
No,
I'll,
no. Just when this starts, just you take something. You just kind of go into it.
another 1,000 rush yarder. We have CD Lamb on the
CeeDee Lamb
Cowboys.
has
Lamb, man,
received
he's
1,000
Okay,
receiving
you are just cutting me off on everything and not letting me talk. This is a stupid bit. I have figured it out. No more. CD Lamb
Yeah, we're
got
done. I didn't want to do
1,000
it for too
yards.
long because I want to actually have the podcast going, but
I figured. That was so weird. I was like, why is it just going? And I'm just here. Yeah, look, CD Lamb hit 1,000 yards. Honestly, kind of forgot he existed. I think I benched him in fantasy a while ago.
The Cowboys as a whole just don't exist.
This is true.
now, like the Cowboys should have to apologize to their fans for being the way they are. We're gonna apologize to y'all real quick for the messiness of that intro. We were just cutting off Carson as our bit this week, and so we're the rest of the podcast is gonna be pretty normal from here on out.
Something else that should be apologized for. The Cleveland Browns are benching Jameis Winston for Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
No.
Really?
How are
That's
you
like
gonna
your best
How are you
decision?
gonna try and help keep Prisco's point?
Yeah, you guys are feeding the hate. Feeding the hate, guys. Come on. And you know the worst part? I'm sure Jameis Winston is just going to be sitting there praying for another chance to start because that's just what he does. He's such a chill guy. I didn't even mean that to be like the meme, but he's just such a chill guy.
Bum, 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 bum.
Unlike the Seahawks players.
They're not chill guys.
The Seahawks had 5 fights during practice this week, while the media was filming alone. So what do you think
This
happens when they're not filming?
This reminds me of the Bills Seahawks game where they were having fights on the sideline too. Like they have some discipline issues over there, and maybe it explains a little bit of their bipolarity with their performances.
Once again, Adam Schefter has been caught illegally streaming NFL games. Is that funny? Yes. Does that speak to some of the marketing choices that the NFL makes and how ridiculous some of their pricing is?
Also, yes.
Yes.
We've seen multiple players and analysts and some coaches even doxing themselves by showing that they're using illegal streams. It's just funny, honestly. The NFL's kind of ruining their streaming capabilities, and it shows.
Yeah. The NBA's been getting a lot better with that. It's pretty cool.
I mean, you used to be able to watch primetime games and featured games for free on the NFL app, and now you're not allowed to anymore. So
It makes sense. Like the NFL, at the point of it was to allow people to do it, and they had to make that paid too.
plus they don't allow anyone to stream their games or anything like online. And if you want to, Tom Grossi talked about this. He said if they wanted to, they were asking for an obscene amount of money to get the rights for it. It's insane.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Two things actually. I know we talked about Michael Penix already, but he apparently found out he was starting in Costco, and he said he was trying to order a $1.50 hot dog, which those things are good. He said he wasn't hungry after getting the call, so that says a lot because those things are good. And the other thing
Yeah.
I did also want to cover that was pretty much like just posted a couple hours ago. Devontae Adams is the 12th receiver to join the 100 touchdown reception club.
Oh, good for him. He was balling
Honestly,
this week.
if he didn't play for the Raiders and Jets, he would have hit it much sooner.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
So
Then again, it was kind of his choice to go to Vegas. So
yeah, that's true.
It's also his
Which
choice
was-
to go to the Jets.
True.
And then,
Both decisions influenced by old quarterbacks. I just realized that he went
Yeah.
to Las Vegas because Derek Carr was his college teammate,
mhm.
and he went to New York because Aaron Rodgers was his Green Bay teammate.
yeah,
And Derek Carr left him, so I think Aaron Rodgers might leave him too.
Crazy.
Oh, he definitely will. He's gonna be stuck in New York and he's gonna be unhappy. So
Yeah,
then he'll end up going to Kansas City or something stupid.
probably.
Yep, undoubtedly. Stupid. You know, there's a lot of stupid people online. Sometimes they make comments.
We'll talk about Carson in
Me.
comments. No, actually, I'm talking about Ian, but it was Carson's comment. Um, I don't know why this is my comment of the week, but the comment of the week is from Carson. He said Ian is the real fraud here.
When did I
When
say
was that?
that?
You did.
I did?
You did.
When was that
I
said?
can pull it up and show you if you need me to.
I'm just curious. I don't
Oh,
remember that at
wait,
all.
was that I remember that. That was
What's
on
that on?
that was on the one where you it was the last comment of the week where someone was roasting you because of the picture in the intro. I don't remember why I said Ian was
Oh,
the real fraud here, but there was like context.
okay.
No, there's no context. He's just saying it.
Yeah, I guess you're fraud, Ian. I'm sorry. I mean,
I
clearly you are. You're
guess.
not even repping the Bears right now, so
Exactly. Yeah. Why don't we talk about it?
We'll get to them.
we'll get to them eventually.
It's okay. He's repping a college team right now, so we can talk about college.
We can. So obviously, we're still waiting for college football playoffs to start this weekend. Remember your game of the week, Clemson and at Texas. It's going to be pretty cool. But first, we do have some other news around the college football. We wanted to briefly go over a lot of which actually is heavily um, involved with the NFL. The first of which being Bill Belichick accepted the job as NC State's head coach. And his first game will be in Boston.
They sent Unk to Unk.
They sent Unk to Unk.
Set the connection up early.
In other news, we have Virginia Tech legend Michael Vick was hired as Norfolk State's head coach, a complete nobody team in the AAC. But I guess Michael Vick is going to try and make something out of him in his first head coaching job. Could be
He's trying to
fun.
pull a Deion Sanders.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you never know. I'm all for it. I'll totally go see a Michael Vick game just in Norfolk. That sounds fun. We also have James Madison University won their first bowl game in program history. Love to see it. I honestly didn't realize this was their first one because I thought they've been pretty good for a hot second, but apparently it is. So congrats to them,
No, because
man.
they just recently got moved. That's why I think they've only been in
Yeah,
the that conference for like 3 years.
yeah. They haven't been up here for long, but still, it was kind of strange. But I mean, good for them. And then we have, oh boy, we have our Heisman winner, Travis Hunter. Okay, this made a lot of people mad. I mean, I don't know if you guys have any strong opinions on this. I
Here,
know Ian and I have
here's
talked
what I'll
about it a
say.
bit.
It's I wouldn't go as far as say he didn't deserve to win because he is still playing. He's still an elite player at an elite level. Um, and saying he doesn't deserve it after all the work he's put in his life and the point that he's gotten to. It's just the fact that G&T should have won it. G&T was the clear favorite between the two. He's the one that deserved it more. But props to Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, just for some context, Aston Gentee has the fourth most rushing yards in college football history. That puts him above two very specific running backs who did win Heisman's, Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. Higher than both of their college numbers, and they both won Heisman's. He did not. I'm not going to say anything
This
about
is
that,
also
but
this is also the fourth year in a row that the Heisman winner did not make the college football playoffs.
correct. Which I'm
And I just
honestly,
want to,
I'm okay with that fact, just because college football playoffs are not necessarily the best indicator of whether a team is super good, because the
Yeah.
committee and all that and bias and it's a whole thing. But 4 years in a row, it is a little bit like of a popularity contest at that point.
and I do just want to touch up on old NFL quarterbacks going to coaching teams. Something we forgot to mention, Teddy Bridgewater, NFL
Mm.
legend. He quite a bit ago went and agreed to head coach at his old high school, and that school won the state championship this year. So in his first year as a head coach, Teddy Bridgewater won the state championship with his high school team.
Go Teddy. Never
Go
forget the
Teddy.
legendary trifecta of Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Bradford, and Case Keenum.
Legends were being made, and we just didn't know it.
Minnesota. It was
You're so silly. You're so silly.
Silly.
Kind of like the stat line.
That has nothing to do with stat line.
Yes, it is, because this stat line's kind of silly.
What is this stat line?
There was 2 fumbles on the goal line this week.
2 goal line fumbles is
That's the
crazy.
stat line. Not forced fumbles. Unforced fumbles is what I'm going to call them. It's just they were running in the end zone and just dropped the ball too early. Jonathan Taylor was one of them, and someone on the Browns defense was the other, I believe.
Yeah, it was the Bengals defense.
For your mascot update, it's the exact same. Tell your mascots to join us on the pod.
Wow, that was inspiring.
All
Since
right.
I was eliminated
Oh,
in our last segment, why don't we talk about eliminated teams?
Oh, that was fast. Okay. Yeah, eliminated teams. So, guys, every week we have to do some obituaries for the teams that have deceased in the playoff race.
Follow us
Unfortunately,
on
last
Instagram to
week,
see those.
follow us on Instagram to see those early. Unfortunately, we did forget to do them last week, so we have a couple more obituaries this week. So up first, we have New York Jets. Back to the darkness. The Tennessee Titans. Their quarterback was not dreamy. The Cleveland Browns. His W got returned.
What?
The Chicago Bears. At least they saved a timeout for times like this,
I
right?
learned what this means.
And last but not least, the Carolina Panthers. The night is no longer young. Thank you for the respect for our fallen soldiers this week and last week. We wish the rest of you luck, except for the Packers and the 49ers, in which case I can't wait to make yours.
No, hopefully I will say.
Not getting one for the Packers, but
Hopefully
I will during the playoffs. I'll do them during the playoffs. I will make an obituary for every team until the Super Bowl winner.
Hopefully the Cowboys are next week.
I'm surprised they aren't,
this
honestly.
week, I'm gonna pawn Will Levis of the week off to Alex Joseph this week.
You are.
What?
You are.
Wait, so Will Levis meme of the week. Oh, okay. The meme of the week is the fact that he got benched in front of his ex-girlfriend.
Will Levis got benched
Yep.
in front of his ex-girlfriend.
Gia Duddy, who's a baddie, by the way.
Well, we
Ian-
can get to our
Ian's
baddies
listening
yet. Hold
to that.
that.
I know. I realized after I said it, but yeah. So yeah, he got benched in front of his ex-girlfriend, which is hilarious. Poor guy. And I just want to give an honorable mention to an image where I don't know if it was fumbled or picked, but he's on the ground on the sideline, and Cam Taylor-Britt is stepping over him, pointing at the crowd. So
That totally would have been the meme of the week, I assume, if he didn't get benched in front of his ex.
correctamundo.
Just because that's just too good.
He's actually been benched. I know this is for later, but he's been benched permanently for now. Well, I shouldn't say permanently, but Mason Rudolph is starting next week, so it's even
Correct.
worse now.
And that quarterback is not dreamy. Not really.
Anyways, so we have another segment for you guys here. This is we asked you to ask us questions and we answered them. And this week we actually got questions. Thank you, first of all. Thank you for the support, and thank you for not making us use ChatGPT again. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into our very first question, and our first question is from Alex not this Alex, but a different Alex. And it says, does Saquon Barkley still threaten Josh Allen for the MVP spot?
No. And I say
I
no because he is no longer on proper pace to beat the rushing record. And looking at the two teams, Allen puts the Bills on his back a lot more than Saquon puts the Eagles on his back.
I'm also going to say no, even if I'm not. In my mind, I still think Saquon stands a very good chance, even though right now Josh Allen is definitely my favorite for it. I think Saquon would probably be my second. Unfortunately, to the rest of the league, the MVP is still a quarterback award. And so, in my mind, he stands a chance for like my personal MVP, but honestly, no. Unfortunately, he is not probably going to get it. The only other person who would even like challenge Josh Allen would be Lamar, which I think is crazy that Lamar is considered over Saquon, but that's how it is.
The only thing I'll say about Saquon is that he did have a down week this week, which might like hurt any chances. Like, if he broke the rushing record, like maybe
He still could, but it's not as plausible.
It's just a
But
lot more
he's
unlikely.
definitely hurt his chances of breaking the rushing record after this performance this week, where he only
And I
broke like
think
60 yards.
I think the past 3 weeks themselves have just it's severely boosted Josh Allen. He's had 7 passing touchdowns, 6 rushing touchdowns, and 1 receiving touchdown, all with 0 turnovers. So
0 sacks as well.
I'd say it's more of a testament to the O line.
I mean, yeah, but he can also use his legs.
I mean,
He also-
he does a lot of creation with things, but his O line does a very good job of blocking too.
They do.
He's had one negative play in the past 3 weeks, and the one negative play was the kneel down he took against the Lions at the end of the game.
Should have put in Mitch. Should have put in Mitch.
I know, right?
He would have gotten positive yardage on that kneel. He would have scored a touchdown on a kneel.
Yeah, 20 points. He would have scored 20 points on that kneel.
He would have kneeled down. They scored a touchdown in like a whole 5 minutes would have been run off the clock.
Exactly.
The Lions
just
would have
him.
lost 20 points.
So our second question comes from historical stuff on YouTube. If you remember in the past, historical stuff has given us some pretty banger questions. He asked us about the Morbius movie and our thoughts on that. It's a pretty good question. So this week we have another very good question. It says, who is the imposter? It's definitely Ian. It's 100% Ian. He's not even wearing a jersey.
I mean, you guys just don't know. So we've actually had a secret fourth person this whole time. So I'd say
That's
they're
what
probably
an
the
imposter
imposter.
would say.
That is what an imposter would say.
Guys, it's not me.
Ian
I saw
Sus.
Alex Vent.
Vote
I saw
Ian.
Alex Vent. I saw Alex Vent.
He could be engineer.
Well,
It's 2024
literally said
among
he
us
was
now,
a
Ian.
fraud.
Anyone can vent.
I know, exactly. And I'm just chilling.
We literally said you were the fraud earlier.
We did.
Yeah,
You are the imposter.
that was a crazy claim.
I'm voting
chat.
Ian. I'm voting off Ian.
Chat. Listen.
Well, the reason I say Ian is the imposter is because I want to.
But it's Carson.
All right,
Ian's
you guys
been
are-
voted
you
off,
guys are
and
both
Ian
voting for
was
me?
the
All right.
imposter.
Okay, cool.
So, do we have any more questions?
Well, we had a couple. We actually do have one that I will get into, and it is from a guy named Ian. And he asks, "Are the Meta AI allegations true?" And we happen to have invited Ian onto the podcast to answer that question for us.
Yeah.
Welcome, Ian.
guys. Just a special guest this week. It's a great question.
All right, moving on. I think we got some baddies in the house.
And no, we're not talking about Ian, even though he is a little bit.
Baddies on the pod. It's time for everyone's favorite part of the podcast, our power rankings. So, in case you didn't know, every week, all three of us make our own list of power rankings. And from there, we then average those power rankings together in order to get a collective list of each NFL team. Unfortunately, because we do it this way, occasionally we will get a tie or two. because of how the numbers calculate math, as Alex would say. And because of this, sometimes we have to just like take a collective vote and decide on which one, or if it is in our top 12 or bottom 3, the baddies, we will discuss them on and debate them on the pod. This week we only had 2 ties, one of which is in our top 12 and we will be getting into. But first, we got to talk about the baddies. So coming in as our first baddie at number 30 in the power rankings, we have
Giudice.
And the Tennessee Titans.
Let's
Oh
just
my
talk about
gosh.
was it the 10 combined turnovers?
Oh, that did happen.
Can we
10
talk about
combined turnovers?
How many penalties were there? Wasn't there also
10?
like 10 penalties?
There was
No,
like
there's more than 10 penalties.
25.
Yeah.
There were 25 penalties, 12 by the Titans, and no, it might have been 26. It was 26 penalties, 14 by the Bengals, 12 by the Titans. And yeah, no, Levis threw 3 picks.
Okay.
He also lost a fumble. And then Rudolph also threw a pick, and there was another fumble in the game somewhere.
I remember I turned the game on and as I turned it on, it was showing a little graphic of like the last 5 drives or something. And it was something like fumble, interception, fumble, punt.
And yet it was still a high scoring game.
Somehow. We also do have to mention the fact that somehow, once again, on Christmas, Mason Rudolph will be a starting quarterback. He won't be playing on Christmas, but as of Christmas, he will be a starting quarterback.
This is why the Titans suck.
Moving on to number 31 in the power rankings, we have the New York Giants. The Giants. They're literally just switching with the Raiders for Ultra Baddie like every other week. They just suck so bad.
Imagine getting rid of Daniel Jones because you think he's the problem, and then just the other quarterbacks you have just being worse.
Deep, profound. The fans have been flying planes over MetLife. This is the second week in a row, and they said, and like they have like a big banner behind the plane, and this one said they won't stop until everyone is fired.
Honestly,
It's so funny. It was honestly so valid though.
I don't know how much it's interesting because Brian Dable won Coach of the Year 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and he might get fired just because of circumstances. I don't even think he's like that bad of a coach, but also
What was their record last year?
They were not good last year. They had like 4 or 5 wins.
I know they weren't good. I just don't remember the record.
But the situation is much worse this year in comparison to last year, even if the record is similar.
They also willingly got rid of Saquon, so their whole head. I mean,
Correct.
see, I agree with the fans. Fire everyone.
Yeah, I would say it's more than a head coaching issue, but I mean, maybe it wouldn't hurt to just literally fire everyone. I don't know. Works for us.
They've needed a culture change for years, and they still aren't getting it.
And I thought Dable was that guy, but
It's
apparently
really
not.
funny trying to see which of the New York teams will get out of the incompetency stage first.
Up next at Ultra Baddie, obviously we have the Las Vegas Raiders, who are now without Max Crosby for the rest of the season. That probably
season is just
solidified
beyond
them the
saving
Ultra
now.
Baddie. That probably solidified the Ultra Baddie spot for the rest of the season. Not having Max Crosby.
Not if they beat the Jaguars, which is very plausible.
True.
Well, I don't think I've ever had less faith in a team than I do with the Raiders right now. The 2022 Raiders are probably the team that I've literally had zero faith in them at all.
The only bright spot on that entire team is Brock Bowers. And like
That is
when
true.
I know how we talk about like the Cardinal, okay? Brock Bowers is the Raider. Like he is that team.
And he's doing that all without a hairline.
Yes, he is all without a hairline.
All right, well, we'll just wait for Kyler Murray to go to Las Vegas and have an MVP season.
Still not
My
gonna happen.
6th grade PE teacher was named Mr. Bowers, and he had more of a hairline than Brock Bowers, but he's not the Raider.
Not the Raider.
He is not the Raider. He had a crazy mustache. He like curled it and stuff, and like it was like half his face.
You mind showing us what it looked like curled?
I mean, I don't know if it'll curl right now, but like I was
Oh, so close.
Alex,
I curl.
when you curl your mustache, you look like a Pierre. Shout out to Pierre, who is single, by the way.
Yeah,
Oh,
unfortunate
Pierre,
Pierre.
though.
Come on, Pierre.
Lock in.
Lock
Don't
It's
tell
not
in.
me
that
I look
hard.
like the guy that needs to lock in.
Pierre has such a good name. Like Pierre is a very intriguing name. You have that.
Great name, but no girlfriend.
Nope.
Maybe
I
you need to
believe
hit
in
up
you,
the
Pierre.
nutty.
Pierre, don't do that. Don't waste your time, Pierre.
No. We're gonna go super fast into our top 12. But before we do that, we have a couple not top 12 teams that we have to shout out because they're on the pod. And I think it's only fair that Ian go first because we all want to know why he's not wearing a Bears jersey.
So in our notes this week for the Bears, the only thing I have is LOL. Ha! I don't know. That's about it.
Ian,
What are
what's
Congratulations.
you
the
gonna talk
Bears
about?
record after the bye this year?
Huh?
What's the Bears record after the bye this year?
Shout out the Bulls for playing mid this season.
Shout
And
out the Bulls.
The Blackhawks, you guys suck still. And the Cubs, you guys got rid of Cody Bellinger. So it's just always losing. Anyway, Carson, how about them
For
Cardinals?
those that wanted to know, the Bears are 0-9 after the bye.
How about them
Thanks for
Cardinals,
that
Carson?
detail. Yeah, so let's talk
No,
about them
0-8.
Cardinals.
Actually, I gave them. I was too mean to the Bears. They're 0-8.
How
They
about them
will be
Cardinals, Carson?
2-1.
Hey, Carson, how about them Cardinals?
How about them Cardinals? Did we win? Yes. Do I feel great about our season still? No, but it's okay. Beat the Patriots this week. It's pretty easy. We signed Buda Baker to a 3-year extension. If it were any other year other than this year, that would have made me upset because I have not been Buda Baker's biggest fan. But he's been balling. Maybe that's just because he wants to get paid, but I don't think so. He's a good leader for the defense, and like clearly his leadership is working because this team of nobodies is still playing amazing defense. So shout out Buda Baker for becoming the third most paid safety in the NFL. I don't know who's above him, but still, shout out to him, I guess. He gets glazed by commentators all the time. It's crazy. And then the other Cardinal that we're really going to talk about today is Trey McBride, who broke 2 records during the Patriots game. The first of which was a record that was previously held by him, which is the most franchise receptions for a tight end, which is very impressive considering he still has 3 weeks left, and he hasn't scored a receiving touchdown this season, which is the other thing we got to get into. Trey McBride has the most catches in a season without a receiving touchdown. It's 89 catches. The following players have more receiving touchdowns than Trey McBride: Josh Allen, Bo Nix, Jared Goff, Trent Scott, Dan Skipper, Feredian Lowe, Wanya Morris, and Sam Hubbard. All more receiving touchdowns than Trey McBride. And you know what's even more crazy? Without a single receiving touchdown all season, Trey McBride is still 4th in most fantasy points for tight ends this season, which just shows you how productive he is. That's really it for the Cardinals. I mean, they kind of stand a chance for the division, but not really. They just need a lot of things to work in their favor. This week everything went right for them, which was good, but they need a couple more things to happen. But week 18 could be crazy for the NFC West. We're going to go ahead and jump into our top 12. Starting off at number 12, we have the LA Chargers. They did get destroyed by the Bucks, who did end up at 13 in our power rankings.
The Chargers, man, they really charged into that loss.
You know what else charges? A Ram. And the Rams are number 11 in the power rankings.
Oh, LA teams are next to each other.
The LA teams are next to each other.
This is a monumental moment in history. I don't think you'll understand the absolute prestige to have two LA teams next to each other in the power rankings.
Kind of a crazy shift from how they played against the Bills to how they played this week.
Yeah, it was ugly.
They
Got the job
really
done.
rammed into first in the division.
Yes, they did. Coming in at number 10, we do have the Washington Commanders. Again,
They played a scary game against the Saints.
oh, it was very scary. I am convinced they would have lost that game if they kicked the extra point instead of going for two.
We could talk about like I know there's a lot of people talk about the clock that stopped for four
Yeah.
Oh,
seconds. I will
yeah.
say I think they stopped it because the Commanders were trying to like sit on the ball. So they're
Yes.
like, all right. So I think in a sense that makes sense. It's just
Well, and
definitely
also it was television. So was it this? Do you guys know if it was the same in the actual stadium?
I don't.
Because
that could
it could have
also
just
be
been
another
it
thing.
could have just been a technical error. Um, but yeah. Jaden Daniels has hit 3,000 passing yards.
The
Congratulations
Commanders
to
really had a
him.
command on the
Congrats.
first half of that game.
It's true. They did. And then Terry just sucked.
He did.
Really? Maybe they
Yes,
shouldn't have gotten
really.
rid of Jahan Dotson.
Anyways, coming in at number 9, we have the Baltimore Ravens. They absolutely destroyed the Giants because the Giants suck. That was probably good for the Ravens, honestly. You know, a good confidence booster. But playoffs are probably going to be rough for the Ravens.
They
We'll
really
see.
had their fans raving over that game.
I mean, I think, like, honestly, just this kind of just solidified that Lamar Jackson is such a running back. You know, he
Yeah.
should not touch the quarterback position whatsoever. In NFL history, there have been 6 times where a quarterback has had 5+ touchdowns and 50+ rushing yards. Lamar Jackson has 4 of those. So just, running back. The other two were Cam Newton, which isn't very surprising, and then the GOAT, Mitchell Trubisky.
W. Mitchell Trubisky.
Is it actually Mitch?
It's actually Mitch.
Yes.
Crazy.
5+
Yeah.
touchdowns, 5+ passing touchdowns, and 50+ rushing yards.
I did not know that.
Crazy work. So yeah,
Who's
clearly
that against?
if he's up there playing with uh, Mitchell Trubisky, then he should just
Yeah,
not
who
play
was the
quarterback
Mitch?
ever.
Who's the Mitch game against? Who did he actually take out most of his power against?
I don't know, but it was on the Bears. It was as a Chicago Bear.
I'm gonna look this
Huh?
up.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers on September 30th,
2018. It was in Tampa, I
2018.
believe.
Yep.
0 picks. Yeah, he had a 154.6 rating.
Coming in at number 8, we have the Denver Broncos. Played a pretty good game against the Colts. Kind of a funny game, actually. I enjoyed watching it. Good
I'll
job,
take.
Broncos.
I mean,
Good job,
Broncos
Broncos.
Colts, the horse matchup. So
Yeah,
They
the horse
really
matchup.
put the foot on the gas and said, "Let's Bronco."
Okay, that one was bad. That one was so bad.
okay.
We'll have to do it for every team now.
Coming in
Okay.
at number 7, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who lost the Pennsylvania Bowl.
7.
Dude, they really went and were like,
7.
"Let's steal away Russell Wilson's undefeated streak against the Eagles."
Shout out Jalen Hurts, who loved Russell Wilson, not growing up but developing. They had a nice little heart to heart at the end. That was fun. Coming in at number 6, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, who, let me just tell you, Pete Prisco was ready to put these guys one as soon as the Lions lost, which we'll talk about later. They popped
Yeah.
right back up to number 1 for Pete Prisco, of course.
They were just kind of creeping up there. Yeah, just the Chiefs.
Just the Chiefs. They did play a pretty good game against the Browns.
When do we get to the Chiefs?
What?
Sorry, I think my ears stopped working for a good like 15 seconds, and we're on the Chiefs
Moved
now.
on from the
Yeah,
Steelers to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They're at 6.
don't make me commander in chief. I cannot hear anything.
That
Yeah.
is so.
Like we talked about earlier, Mahomes injured his ankle, but he'll be back. It's nothing major. Yeah,
Can't wait for the
Chiefs.
narrative of the entire class to be like, he recovered from this ankle injury and he's playing again. And oh my God, he's the best quarterback ever because he recovered from another ankle injury.
No. It's okay.
What? No.
Now we can
What?
get into the top
No,
5.
dude.
Now we can get into the top 5, which are some actually like good teams. So at number 4 and 5, we do have a tie, which may be partially because I made my rankings at 3 a.m. and mixed a couple things up, but we're going to call it a tie for entertainment purposes. We have number 5 and number 4, the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings.
Give me the Vikings.
I also take the Vikings. We all take the Vikings.
We have to talk
Green
about
Bay.
this.
Green Bay, listen. Who did Green Bay play this week?
Seattle.
I didn't watch the game, in
They
all
were really
honesty.
packing up.
It was a very good offensive game. Though it was the running game that killed Seattle. Though it was
Well,
entirely
that's
the
been
running
the
game.
story for a lot of the games this season. Josh Jacobs, you're a beast. You're doing a
No,
very
no.
great job.
Seattle's run defense is crazy good. That was a shock.
Well,
That was
I'm
a
not saying on the
shock.
Green Bay side. I'm saying on Green
Oh,
Bay
yeah,
side,
yeah.
the running game has been and Josh Jacobs is a beast.
Yes,
Josh Jacobs
100%.
is. Yeah, Jordan Love, I still think you're overrated. I've actually seen a few fans say Malik Willis should be put in, which is hilarious to me. But yeah, and their defense stepped up. As far as the Vikings go,
Man, they're just playing good football. Justin Jefferson, he's in all-time great conversations. Shout out to Randy Moss. Hope for a good recovery.
Just want to note, if they win out, they are the number 1 seed.
The Vikings, yeah. They're kind
Same with
of
the line. Actually,
quietly
if the
there.
Lions and Vikings both win the next 2 games, be prepared for a Sunday Night Football last game of the year between the Vikings and Lions, where the winner is the number 1 seed in the NFC.
wouldn't
They
that be
both have
Monday
the
Night Football then?
What?
Wouldn't that be Monday Night Football then?
No, the last week of the season isn't Monday Night Football.
Yeah, they don't have Monday night on the last week. It's all Sunday.
Oh, they don't. Oh,
They
It's
never
all, Sunday.
have.
It's
I
all
didn't even know that.
Saturdays and Sundays.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's weird.
It all unfolds in one day. It's pretty.
I'll look now, but they could become the Vikings of the NFC.
That would be kind of cool.
Whichever team doesn't win that becomes the 5th seed.
Yeah.
right.
If that's what it comes down to. You either get the 1st seed or you get the 5th seed.
The Vikings could even be the 6th seed if they lose to Green Bay and Detroit,
Yeah.
and the Green Bay Packers win out.
Crazy. Okay, before we get into our top 3, this is where things get very interesting. None of our top 3s out of the 3 of us, they all had the same 3 teams, but they were all in some sort of a different order. And I mean, you see the same thing with other power rankings. So we've got a pretty spicy top 3. At number 3, we do have the Detroit Lions.
What?
Who lost to the Buffalo Bills.
What?
Mm-hmm. Lions.
I mean,
Ian's thinking
David
that
Montgomery.
Ian's out here thinking why are you lying about the top 3?
I'm not. What?
He's just reaching for a pun, Ian. Just reaching for a pun.
I just got it. Okay. David Montgomery towards MCL. As
Just to
a
add salt to the
Montgomery
wound.
fan, I am very upset about that. I love David Montgomery. And yeah. But now it's the Jahmyr Gibbs show.
So 2 questions for you guys. 1, both about onside kicks. 1, how do you think the end of that game was? Because that was definitely weird. And two, what are your thoughts on kicking an onside kick with 12 minutes left?
That was crazy. That made no sense whatsoever.
It wouldn't have been as crazy if it was a surprise.
Well, yeah, but that's not
True.
possible anymore. But and are you asking my thoughts of onside kicks in general?
No, I just meant, what did you think of the end? Because I know all a bunch of Lions fans were like, we had that ball, and it was, just what are your thoughts on onside kicks? I guess in general, and because a lot of times the rulings can be shaky when they get into dog piles and stuff.
Yeah, it's just a situation that's hard to deal with. Not really much to say. Especially in that situation, a Lions player could have had it. It's whoever comes out with it at the end. It's whoever has final. It's whoever the ref sees first with their hands on it. So Who really knows what happened? But
There's
from
so
the
many
replays,
guys.
it did look like the Bills were the one who initially got possession and they
I
maintained it.
agree. It probably switched
Oh,
people in the pile several times. And, I mean, the Bills started with it, Bills ended with it. I don't know. I honestly thought the Lions recovered it when I first saw the play, and I was like, oh,
me
okay.
too.
But yeah. That was a game. Speaking of that game, coming in at number 2, we have. Nope, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh, I bet I got you guys. Philadelphia
No,
Eagles are number 2, who also played a very good game. That was basically the only reason no one's really talking about this game is because the Bills Lions game happened. But the Eagles Steelers had a very good football game. The Eagles are a very complete team. Still
and a lot of
undefeated
people
since
were
Nick Sirianni shaved his head.
questioning the Jalen Hurts AJ Brown connection, and it delivered this week. People thought there was something going on between them, but if there was, it's been squashed.
It's
Um,
definitely squashed. Shout out AJ
they
Brown for putting up like terrible numbers until I bench him with the beef, which was kind of dumb on my part. But then he puts up 21 something points. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Oh yeah, I was looking at all time record stuff. I saw a post that was talking about all time records and it said the Eagles winning percentage was quite close to 500. I kind of did a little deep dive into it. If they beat Washington and Dallas in the next two games, it will be exactly 500
In the regular season, right? Or all
in
time?
the regular season. They will be 638 and 638 and 27.
That's
And
crazy.
27.
27
That's
And
ties.
insane.
27.
27 ties. For
One
obvious
last thing to note
reasons.
from that game is they did take 10 minutes on the final drive to end the game.
That was some crazy clock management. Oh my gosh.
One little fact, sorry, because I was thinking about the ties for the Eagles. The Bears and the Cardinals are the two teams with the most ties all time. The Bears have 42 and the Cardinals have 41.
Well, they're also
This
like
is what
two of
happens
the
when you're the two
oldest,
oldest
but
franchises.
ooh, at least
What?
one of us has
No.
success. It's not us, by the way.
Yeah, not
Our
quite.
all-time record is terrible. Don't look at it. Coming in at number 1, they've been waiting a long time to sit up here. A long time to sit up here, and not even all of us put them here, but they have earned their spot.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the new peak status amongst the power rankings. It's a prestige that has not been held by us this season, but I've put us here many times, and we finally held our mark due to the votes of the power rankings individuals and math. For those who don't understand math, it's when numbers. I present, now that we have paid our bills, the Buffalo Bills are number one in the power rankings, led by future MVP Josh Allen.
And the GOAT, Mitch Trubisky.
Of course. Well, I don't have to mention if
Well, if
mentioning
you say
someone
led by, then you kind of have to throw Mitch Trubisky in there.
that's true. That's true. That's true. That's true.
Trubisky is mentoring Josh Allen. That's the only
Yes.
reason why he's playing good.
There were clips of Allen and Trubisky talking on the sideline the entire time we were saying, yeah, he's mentoring him.
Oh, of course.
Question: when Josh Allen and Haley get married, is she gonna make her name Haley Allen?
That is a great question.
A plot
You know,
twist.
we
He'll
don't
make
have to
his
wait
name
and see
Josh
though.
Atwell.
You know, we don't have to wait and see though. The debut of the red jersey, white pants combo, and honestly, I think it looks that's one of their best uniform combos that they've had.
Very
He said he doesn't like red on red. They did. He said they should do red on white instead. They did red on white instead, and he was like, finally. In other news, even though Josh Allen is not necessarily having the MVP just yet, he does have the MVP, and he'll be winning the MVP and the MVP in the same season.
He got this week's Nickelodeon Valuable Player. Not
Correct.
an MVP, not Nickelodeon Most Valuable Player, just Nickelodeon Valuable Player.
I see. Honestly, I think that's testament to Trubisky's mentoring, considering Trubisky was the very first MVP. I don't think Josh Allen would have won that if it wasn't for Trubisky and his influence on the committee.
I agree with that statement.
I agree
completely.
with that statement 100%.
You know what I realized? I think the only reason Ian's not wearing his Bears gear is because Trubisky left the team.
If Mitch Trubisky left my team, I would never wear a Cardinals jersey again.
I still haven't recovered from his leaving.
Such a sad moment.
There you go. Those are our power rankings. Going through them all, from bottom to top, we have the Ultra Baddies, the Raiders, 31, the Giants, 30, the Titans, now without Will Levis at center, 29, the Jaguars, 28, the Patriots, 27, the Jets, 26, the Bears, 25, the Browns, who were tied with 24, the Panthers, 23, the Saints, 22, the Colts, 21, the Falcons, 20, the Cowboys, 19, the 49ers, 18, the Dolphins, 17, the Bengals, 16, the Texans, 15, the Cardinals, 14, the Seahawks, 13, the Buccaneers, 12, the Chargers, 11, the other LA team, the Rams, 10, the Commanders, 9, the Ravens, 8, the Broncos, 7, the Steelers, 6, the Chiefs, 5, the Packers, who were tied with 4, the Vikings, 3, the Lions, 2, the Eagles, and 1, Mitchell Trubisky and the Bills. Those are our power rankings.
They're ours. So they're automatically better than Peter Briscoe's.
Correct.
Either.
Finishing up, we got our games of the week. Starting off with the Eagles going in to Washington to take on the Commanders.
Yup.
Very good game.
Yup.
It's just going to be a good game. I
Very
predict
good.
the Commanders get owned again because Cliff Kingsbury is a bum in the second half of the season.
Between the Steelers and the Ravens. It's going to be a very good game. Yup.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
The third one, we have the second Saturday game. Texans at the Chiefs. Just got a feeling this one's going to be good.
So Patrick
Should be a good
Mahomes
game.
might play in this one.
He will.
Now here's a guy who
here's a
plays
guy that
football.
loves playing football on a
Now,
hurt
here are three
ankle.
guys that do a football podcast.
I don't know. You know who else talks about
I
football?
don't know, Jim.
Patrick Mahomes.
I don't know, Jim. You look at these three guys, and it's kind of what we see out of Patrick Mahomes. You look at the way these guys wear jerseys, and you think that's kind of something Patrick Mahomes does, where he wears a jersey.
Now here's a guy that really knows how to make a smart play by throwing it right into the dirt.
The Raiders talked poorly about the GOAT Patrick Mahomes. Give them 300 yards, then the Chiefs win by 35.
Do you think Taylor Swift secretly hates Brittany Mahomes?
Yes.
I would.
Probably not secretly.
Yeah.
I was gonna say she's probably already written a song about it. Trust. Trust.
Stay tuned for the AI-generated episodes of Footballers Anonymous. Whoa.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa, what? Who said that?
What?
What?
The allegations? What allegations? Anyway.
What allegations? Anyways,
We don't.
thank you. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Footballers Anonymous. Alex, sorry.
No, I can't.
No.
I cannot say it anymore. The moment is past.
You mean you were cut off when you were trying to talk? That's
Yeah,
so
no. What I was
mean
gonna
of
say
me.
is,
I'm so
we
sorry.
don't talk about Taylor.
All right, so moving on to
Thank you
the
guys for tuning in to
outro.
this episode of Footballers Anonymous.
That's fair enough.
We
That's
love
fair
and
enough.
appreciate all of you, Footballer Nation.
You guys are the best. We love you. Have a great
Just talk about
week.
hating Brittany Mahomes.
Footballer Nation, let's
Let's
ride.
ride.